YouTube, Quinn Wade coming to y'all with a analysis on Memphis Grizzlies, what to expect from this team on the upcoming 2024-2025 NBA season. We can expect this team to be very interesting and intriguing just because the return of Ja Morant said he was about 75, 85% at this point, and the season starts in October, so he should be closer to 100% by that time. But he's the main corporate of this team and the main player of this team. He carries this team, and they can't win without him. We have seen that NBA has gotten tougher in the Western Conference, and a lot of talent has been handed over to the Eastern Conference, making that a tough conference to win games in too. But their franchise player is one of the most toughest players to guard, one of the most hardest players to prepare for. He's so fast, so strong, so quick, so devastating in transition and even in the half court that he makes his teammates get easy opportunities because you have to do so much things defensively just to keep him in check. And I feel like for him to be as injury prone as he has been, even in high school, even in college, even in the NBA, that's the weakness of this team winning a lot of games is can they continue to do it without Ja Morant just in case he misses some time, just because he needs to get healthier, just because he's not even 100% to start the season, and you want to protect him from himself for wanting to play while already not 100% in general. So when I look at this roster, they have a lot of depth. They have a lot of great players and solid role players on this roster, and I feel like they're in a great condition to be able to win games without him. You look at Marcus Smart, I think he's going to have a bigger role just because he's a great defender. He's a guy that can score a little bit. He's a guy that can space the floor a little bit. He's a guy that can handle the ball and run the offense at the point guard position or at the two guard position. Plus, he's a great defender too, so he's going to make it tough for anybody, on the perimeter, and they're going to have to work hard to get tough shots. And that's what you want them to take, and that's why they made the move to get a guy like Marcus Smart on their roster. It just gives them a different element that they didn't really have at the guard position, and now they can play him with Derrick Rose, who's also 35, but he can still score a little bit. He can still make a little bit. He's not going to be asked to do too much, but you just need him to do whatever it takes to come off that bench and still be an impact player. And that's what they're asking him to do on his roster. You look at Desmond Bain, he's going to be asked to do a little bit more, and he's going to have to stay healthy as he was injured last year. And he's going to have to be that catch and shoot guy, that guy that can get to the paint and finish. A little bit more transition pushes this year because the ball might not be in his hands as much compared to last year's because the healthiness of Ja Morant. But if Ja Morant goes down, then he can handle the ball, play, make, and get out in transition and make shots in the half court too. He has been an all-star caliber player, and I just want to see him continue to stay healthy and continue to grow too, just because they're a dangerous backcourt, especially when you add Marcus Smart in there and have the ability to go quick, fast, and small at the same time. And that can be a tough lineup to score on too because they can cover space, they can stay in front of guys, and they're all very strong as guards, so they can hang with forwards that want to use their quickness more than their skill or their handle. And even if they do, they can still stay in front of those guys. Aldama, I like what I see with him. He's a guy that can space the floor a little bit. He's not the greatest defender, but he's a solid guy in offensive sets. And I feel like him and Ja Morant really get along really well, and they really complement each other really well too. Brandon Clark is a long athletic body. He can dunk. He can hit some mid ranges from time to time. He can be a good screen setter. I think he's important to the team because a lot of that stuff they need to make people's jobs easier getting to the basket or getting open shots. And I think Brandon Clark can do that. He'll be getting a little bit more minutes than he usually do because this team lost some guys, and now they're going to have guys get more minutes and step up. Zach Edey, the rookie, he's going to be in a rookie of the year conversation just because he's going to have rebounds. He's going to have enough touches to get double figures, and that's all you really need to do to be in that conversation for Rookie of the Year. He showed in Summer League that he can still score in the half court. He can still get up and down the floor. He can still get solid shots, attempts at the basket. It's just about him converting them into baskets. I don't really see him doing anything crazy, but I do see him being a good, solid starter caliber player and just having the size and the body to protect his space and protect the rim and keep his hands up high to contest and contort shots. And I just feel like his body is just so huge and so big that he just need to eat up space and make people think a lot. And that can open up opportunities for his teammates to get steals, interceptions, and himself getting blocks or steals too. And that's what happens when you have a big body. G.G. Jackson, he's going to miss some time because of his injury. So I don't really expect him to have that much of an impact this season. He's not going to be able to get out on the court and adjust and adapt because of the injury. It might take him some time afterwards, but by then you would say, is it even worth him playing this season? If you do want him to play this season, they're going to be getting ready for the playoffs, so it's going to be a tough road. Plus, they're going to have to go in the playoffs and see if he's going to be able to contribute. By then, you already have a guy by the buyout or something that you rather prefer to go with until he's fully healthy and he can make a great contribution. But until then, I think he'll just be a great fill-in player until he's ready to take a major role. Jaren Jackson Jr., one of the Defensive Player of the Year caliber players. He won it before. He's one of their anchors. Fast, quick, athletic, can knock down the three, can make some shots and some push shots and some floaters, can finish strong sometimes, depending on how much space or how quick he goes up to finish. I like what he brings to the table. I was a fan of him before he even made it to the NBA because I seen the potential, and he's realizing a lot of that potential, especially defensively. He still fouls a lot. He still is working on his screen setting ability. He's still working on his finishing ability. He's still working on how he can contribute to help a team win outside of defense. And I think the rebounding still hasn't been there. I thought he'd be able to correct that after a while, but by him playing on the perimeter a lot, it's hard to do. But, it's just a challenge that you want to see him be able to reach eventually. Being a double-double is very good because it makes you harder to score on because it is not as much transition. And you can also help out offensively with the offensive rebounds, giving your team second and third opportunities to be able to score in possessions. He's fast and he's quick and he has the size at 242, but he just hasn't been able to stay inside the paint and bang and be able to hold down that interior as an anchor. But rebounds are just as important as contesting and being able to protect the paint and block. And if you only can end the possession with a rebound, that means you did a great job successfully as a team closing out that possession to start a new one, which is y'all on offense. I think it makes a lot of sense why Jaren Jackson still have leaps and bounds to go so he can be a perennial all-star and a potential superstar in his league. But will he reach that full potential? I don't know, but he's close to it, and I think that it'll be great to see him fill out the rest of his game and play more minutes because he's he's fouling less, and I think that that'll be the evolution of him becoming a great player at that power forward position. Luke Kennard, he's a good guard. He can create his own shot. He can handle the ball. He can hit a mid-range. He can come off screens and hit mid-ranges and threes. And he can get to the basket a little bit, and he can knock down free throws. He's a solid player. He has the ability to be a bench scorer and a guy that can space the floor and give people some room so that way they can be able to score in the interior or be able to kick it out to a guy that they respect. That's his whole purpose of being on his team. Jake LaRavia, he's a solid player. I don't expect him to get much minutes and play that often. Same with Jalen Wells and Vince Williams Jr. Those guys are just going to be roster fillers. They're not going to really play that much. They're not going to really make that much of a difference in the early season, and they might play a little bit in the late season, or they might be able to play in the future for this team, just not right now. This team is way too loaded, way too stacked, and they're trying to win games so they can be a legit playoff threat. and a championship caliber team is what they're aiming for this season. So I don't really see them risking it with young players that ain't really developed, don't really know what they're doing, or aren't reliable yet. They want to go with old reliable right now, so that way they can win games at the highest level. I do though expect the Memphis Grizzlies to be a top five team in the Western Conference. I do expect them to be elite if Ja Morant and those guys stay healthy. And even if one of them get injured, I don't expect them to miss major time. And if they do, that's the only thing that can kill this team for being a top five team in the Western Conference. If this team plays healthy 65 to 75% games, they should be able to win majority of them, and they should be able to be one of the top five teams in the Western Conference. And they have been when they have had their best players on the court, showing you that it's not that difficult for them to win games. And I think that will consistently happen, throughout this era of the Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson era of basketball, especially with adding Marcus Smart for that perimeter defense. And he's a guy that usually stays healthy too. So, they have some other options. They have some other directions that they can go in with their roster and with their play. But then again, we know that, and we know what they're capable of, and we know what they can do on both ends of the court. And they're a feisty, competitive team that always like to draw at you. They always like to come at you. They like to back it up a lot too, for what I've seen. And they're a fearless team, and we have to give them a lot of credit for what they have been about and what they have done outside of being injured. I know they haven't had the greatest playoff run or been the most dominant team in the NBA or been a number one seed in the NBA, but they're a team that's in the middle where they're great enough to hit the heights. They're great enough to get it done. They're respected enough that they can beat you, and you can still say, well, they're a great team. I'm not surprised that they got us. But they also have so much more that they can do, so much more that they have to prove to themselves and to the NBA. And they also not that far from being a championship caliber team if they stay healthy the majority of the playoffs, or they just take it more serious in the regular season, which they have done, and that's why they was able to finish number 2 a couple times in the Western Conference. So we know what they're capable of. We know what they can do. It's just about staying healthy and being able to continue to play great defense and continue to play together for the most part. That will help this team reach those goals like they have done before. But this is one of the most dangerous teams in the entire NBA, and we all know it, and we all respect them enough to give them that type of credit. Other than that, comment, like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification bell for more analysis. If you're new to the channel, check out my older videos too, because if you like this video, I'm guaranteeing that you'll like the other ones too. I got analysis, breakdowns, and tributes, and NBA coverage throughout the whole year. Basically, I upload every day. And if you've been a fan of the channel, check out my older videos still, because you might have missed something that you wanted to see or wanted to watch. And you can pretty much catch up to whatever you want to see on this channel, because if you're a fan of the channel, you're a fan of what I do, you'll like every video on this channel, because I got the same type of approach on my videos. Other than that, thanks for watching.